Hello and welcome to Living Waters, where scripture meets life. Through this episode, we shall explore certain aspects of yet another contemporary idol, namely our own body and its appearance. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19 to 20 says, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price, so glorify God in your body." This verse talks about the importance of pursuing purity with respect to certain sins committed against one's own body. But these days, this verse is often misinterpreted and the body becomes the idol within the temple. And there's a huge thrust in perfecting our outward appearance. Being good stewards of our body and taking care of it is definitely God's will for us, because He Himself created us as having an outer man and an inner man. And so we are not to neglect or be careless regarding how our body looks and, more importantly, how our body functions. But we are living in a world which is obsessed about having a perfect body, and the obsession is glorified and made to spread like wildfire. Men and women spend hours and hours, day after day, week and week in the pursuit of perfecting his or her body, because every minute we are being told through advertisements and other media that we need to look in a particular way in order to be happy, in order to be successful. Have fitness centers, gyms and beauty salons become our temples of idolatry? And have we placed ourselves and our physical appearance as our idol of worship? Let us ask ourselves a few questions and in the process search our hearts. What is the purpose in our pursuit of improving our outer man? What drives us to hit the gym floor every day? What motivates us to visit our beauty salons periodically? Because whether it's about us jogging every day or what we do at the gym or the way we dress or the way we do our hair, the Christian should be clear about the way Jesus calls us to do all these things. John Piper, in one of the Ask Pastor John videos on this topic, gives 3 questions that would help us see if our motive is in the right place. We will look into 2 of them. Number 1, is our working at the gym a strategy for overcoming sin? Is it to fight our tendency to fall into laziness, to fight our natural instincts to stay in our comfort zones? Just as Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 9:27 about disciplining his body and keeping it under control. Or is it because of some sense of insecurity of not having a particular body image? Or is it to display our body and our looks to others? Sadly, when we look into the core of it, the reason might be a desire either to create jealousy in others or to produce lust towards ourselves in others, or a desire to steal for ourselves glory before others. Sometimes it might be even the desire to show off to others that we are not lazy but disciplined. And that would be like the Pharisees showing off their fasting. Number 2, is our pursuit of fitness and our pursuit of creating a particular body appearance owing to a genuine desire to become more useful in serving the temporal and eternal good of others? Piper asks, are you aiming to be fit in order to be faithful? Are you aiming to be healthy in order to be helpful? Is your concerns with your looks a concern to love and serve God and other people better? Or rather, is it to seek our own glory? Maybe for some of us, we can't stop ourselves from comparing with other people on the screen or off the screen, using worldly standards of beauty and fitness. Now, what is the antidote to this kind of idolatry? The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 30 says, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." This is not only applicable to women but to men also. We need to have a higher, more lofty and glorious standard for beauty and fitness. Speaking of godly standards of beauty, let me close with the story of Evelyn Brand as narrated by John Piper. Evelyn Brand was born in England in 1879 and grew up in a well-to-do British family. She studied at the London Conservatory of Art. She dressed in the finest silks of the day. She was resoundingly converted to Christ. She married and she went with her husband to minister as missionaries in the Kolimale mountain ranges in India, and that's situated in our neighboring state. After about 10 years, her husband died at the age of 44. She came home broken, beaten down by pain and grief. But after a year's restoration and against all advice, she returned all by herself to India. Her soul was restored. She poured her life into the hill people, nursing the sick, teaching, farming, lecturing about guinea worms, rearing orphans, clearing jungle land, pulling teeth, establishing schools, spreading the gospel. She lived in a portable hut, 8 square feet, for a season that could be taken down and moved and then put up again. At age 67, she fell and broke her hip. Her son, Paul Brand, a famous surgeon who worked in and around CMC Vellore, and he's a pioneer in hand surgery and leprosy surgery. He encouraged her to retire. She had already suffered a broken arm, several cracked vertebrae, recurrent malaria, and her response, "Paul, you know these mountains. If I leave, who will help the village people? Who will treat their wounds and pull their teeth and teach them about Jesus? When someone comes to take my place, then and only then will I retire." She worked on, and then at the age of 95, she died. The villagers buried her in a simple cotton sheet so that she would decompose and be part of the mountains. Her son commented, "With wrinkles as deep and extensive as any I have ever seen on a human face, she was a beautiful woman." Now here is the great part. For the last 20 years of her life, she refused to have a mirror in her house. Piper says he loves this. She was consumed with ministry, not mirrors, not herself.